To get started, I want to talk about an article about Twitter launching the test of a professional profiles, basically like a business page version for brands and creators. That is going to kind of change the style of what those pages look like for the average Twitter content creator or brand. So let's jump over to that article right now. Okay. So here's on social media today. If you see my other live streams, you know that I absolutely love this website. It has great information about staying up to date with different social media updates and news and all that kind of stuff. So we'll kind of jump in over here. After previewing them at its recent Analyst Day overview, Twitter is now officially launching a live test of its professional profiles, which will provide a new way for brands to present themselves on the platform with dedicated tools and features aligned specifically with work use. Professional profiles are a new tool that will allow businesses, nonprofits, publishers, and creators, anyone who uses Twitter for work, to display specific information about their business directly on their profile. We're starting with a small pool of businesses in the US, and we'll give more accounts access to professional profiles in the coming months. Yeah, so whenever these social media companies, roll out new stuff, it's always something that they start with a small group, and that's just because if there's any errors, they don't want to expose the entire network to, all of these errors. So that's pretty common to roll out with a small group, but then as time goes on, if you like it and it's proving successful, then they'll slowly start to pivot to make it available to everybody. Okay. As you can see in the above example, the new professional profiles include more information, including address with contact info within the main profile frame and an updated layout and variants to personal handles. The format displayed in today's announcement is slightly different to the one Twitter featured in preview of its professional profiles early last month, which included more options like business category and new badge types. Yeah, that's interesting. I really like how this new profile is actually looking. It's definitely a lot more information, but to be honest, when you're looking for a business profile, that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking for information. So I think it's kind of interesting. We'll continue on here. This example also doesn't confirm the addition of new elements like product displays, panel, or image gallery, which are also in development. Right. Okay. These are just other kind of features that Twitter is also, working on right now, just to kind of bridge that gap between business page and personal page, and what you can do as a business on Twitter, which I think makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'll be totally honest. Whenever I, am creating a social media strategy for somebody and kind of looking at how somebody is going to go about creating content on social media platforms, Twitter is kind of an afterthought. And that's not to say that you can't have a lot of success on Twitter. I think Twitter is an absolute beast at creating content very quickly, publishing it. So in like a news context or a sports context, I think Twitter is really kind of perfect. You work too much with, I did work with a news brand one time, but we've still kind of prioritized, Facebook because their demographic was more heavily on Facebook. But it's interesting. It has its benefits for sure, but I've definitely noticed that, businesses have benefited from Facebook and Instagram and even jumping into the TikToks of the world, because there's just such a crazy reach that even if it's not set up amazingly for a brand to, convert and things like that, it's still so open-ended to how many people you can reach and how many eyeballs you can get on your content. It could definitely be worth it for social media strategy. So it's interesting. I think that Twitter is trying to become a little bit more relevant here and trying to open the doors to have more businesses come in and treat Twitter like a necessary part of their social media diet, if you will, which makes sense because at least in my experience, I just haven't prioritized it because I haven't seen the real results that make it worth it to create enough content to grow a real Twitter page. So it's always definitely on the back burner for me when I'm creating a social media strategy, but maybe this will start to change it as they start to prioritize more business stuff and kind of give more features that are going to benefit business content creators. Let's jump back over here. Okay, so but in its early days, as Twitter notes, it's starting out with only a small group of brands in the app, with a view to developing the option further and providing new ways for brands to maximize their potential on the platform. Creating separate business profiles, as Facebook and Instagram have already done, could facilitate a range of new opportunities for Twitter, both in regard to business promotion and facilitating new opportunities for brands and for Twitter itself in categorizing and managing exposure and reach. Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. I think that Twitter's understanding the fact that they don't have as much of a business presence, and I think they're probably looking at the Facebook model, which has had such crazy success with growing the business framework for if you're a somebody who owns a business page, you're much more likely to run ads and actually pay Facebook, and that's ultimately the best way Facebook makes money, right? So they want that, just like any social media platform wants advertising, because that's just how they make money. And I think Twitter, I don't know the exact numbers, but I would bet that Twitter's ad revenue is just significantly less than Facebook and Instagram. Probably even TikTok, but also TikTok has really, really expensive ads right now. They're leveraging their crazy popularity for that. But anyway, I digress. It's definitely interesting. I think that they are looking for more cash and just trying to have Twitter be more of a hub for businesses, which makes perfect sense for the longevity of Twitter, because they need money to keep growing. So let's just kind of read on here. Okay. Twitter could, for example, end up following the lead of Facebook and reducing the reach of business profile tweets in order to encourage ad investment. That's really interesting. So Facebook in 2018 and subsequently throughout the time since then, and I'm sure it happened beforehand too, but heavily in 2018, they really kind of flipped the script. So Facebook suddenly stopped looking at, if you were creating content on a business page on Facebook, suddenly it became a lot harder to get eyeballs on your content and to get engagement than it was in 2017, 16, so on and so forth. They kind of flipped that because they saw that there were just a lot more businesses posting, and it was kind of muddying the waters of the user experience. And so what they wanted to do, of course, was prioritize their user experience and make sure that people aren't just getting hit with spammy content, which just looks like ads and things like that. But secondary to that, you also get the advantage of, if it's harder for brands to get eyeballs on their content just from organically posting on Facebook, well, guess what? They still want Facebook. They still want to engage with this huge social network. So they're going to start using ads right now. And that kind of helped to pivot people towards social media ads on Facebook, because suddenly they just didn't get all those thousands of subscribers and followers that they were normally getting. So they had to kind of change their strategy, and that often involved giving some money to Facebook to either boost a post or run an ad campaign, which was pretty smart. I mean, it worked great for Facebook to help make the platform just more enjoyable for the user and also to bring them more money. So it was definitely a great move for them and their business model. So right here, they're talking about that they could be following Facebook in order to maximize promotions and increase ad spend while boosting interaction between individuals. Yeah, but then again, given brand profiles have been mixed in with everything else for years, most of the best brands have already adapted their tweet messaging to remain relevant to their followers without interrupting, while people are also following brands they want to hear from, which could make it difficult for Twitter to justify such a move. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, right here, the author here is basically saying that Twitter has had such a long history of having businesses and regular personal profiles prioritized equally amounts. So essentially, if you go onto Twitter, you're not just going to be seeing only business profiles or only personal profiles. You're going to be seeing a mix of them, and that's going to be determined by the algorithm figuring out exactly what kind of content you're most interested in. So if you go onto Twitter and you're only interested in Nike and you follow Nike, you're going to just see Nike content, right? That makes perfect sense. And that's just kind of how social media platforms work up until social media platforms started to prioritize meaningful social interaction. And you'd see more stuff from people and less from brands, even if you really, really enjoy the content from those brands. So I don't know, though. They're saying here that it might be difficult for Twitter to justify prioritizing personal content over brand content because for so long they've had people experience both equally. But that was really the same kind of situation with Facebook. You were being prioritized content equally, whether it was a brand or a person, before 2018. And at the end of the day, you were still seeing the content that you just wanted to see. So, I don't think it's any harder to justify that than it was for Facebook in 2018. And at the end of the day, it sounds like it's a great way to kind of boost revenue. So I don't think it's would be hard to justify Twitter to make a move to make more money. Okay. But that's just one example of how dividing out brand profiles could open up new considerations for the platform, while it could also facilitate new dedicated product launches, streamline ad opportunities, conversion tools, and more. Yeah, so it's really interesting. I think that as social media platforms kind of move on through the years, they obviously are adapting and getting better at running their business, not only just from the user experience side, but also from just, getting capital side, which is very important to any business. So it's definitely interesting. I will say that it's definitely never been harder on a lot of platforms to be a business page. And that's just because it comes with its whole new set of rules, right? And I think that there's a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, who know they need to get involved in social media and know that they need to get involved in advertising, but digital advertising, but they might not have the budget for it. It's really tough because you need to post on social media, right? You know that it's something you can't ignore in your business, or at least hopefully you do. However, you've never seen such little results from your posting, right? So that's very discouraging, and I totally get that. I think that Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all these social media platforms, Twitter including, they could really benefit from having a more clear-cut approach to getting people to use their platform the right way, or the way that they want it, right? They could definitely benefit from not just providing analytics, but helping coach people. Because at the end of the day, if you're a business and you're creating content that is engaging and free, organic content, not talking about ads right now, but if you're creating great engaging content that people love and they appreciate and it's keeping people on the platform longer, whether you're a brand or you're just a regular person, personal profile page, that's great for Facebook, for Instagram, for Twitter, for whatever. At the end of the day, if you're creating content that keeps people on the platform, that's what they want and that's what they need, right? Especially when you look at the Facebooks of the world who are kind of dealing with so many more competitors and they're really trying to maintain their relevance in today's day and age. Keeping people on the platform is the name of the game. And if you're creating content that does that, you should be rewarded for it. But I feel like Facebook and stuff kind of throws a lot of business pages to the dogs, and they don't really nurture content creation as much as they could, which is unfortunate. But it's also part of the reason why, there's an opportunity to create live streams like this where we talk about this. Again, guys, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I can answer them as we go along, especially if you have a specific business where, you're wondering, hey, how do I do X, Y, and Z? Let me know in the comments. I'll answer it right in the live streams. I think this is a free social media audit / consulting call, right? That's kind of what this live stream is built to do. So definitely let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And I just think it's too difficult nowadays for businesses to grow on their own on like Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, what you need to understand is that if you're creating content that people like, and you can easily track that through, follows and likes and things like that, especially shares, all that kind of stuff. If you're creating content they like and you're creating content consistently, that's the name of the game. Then you just need to keep doing that. I try to make it as simplistic as possible. I talk about social media, content creation, and digital marketing strategy like a diet, right? There's 1,000 different ways to, lose weight, right, through a diet. There's 1,000 different diets that you can use. At the end of the day, though, whatever is going to be the best thing for you is going to be whatever you can stay consistent with, right? Because if you're posting content and you're engaging and you're doing all this great stuff for a week, you're not going to get very far. But if you're able to continually do that for a month to a year, then you're actually going to see some real tangible results that can actually change your business model. So that's why I always say that find a scenario where you can, and you're comfortable and you enjoy creating content, and just kind of run with that. Just let that kind of fuel your day-to-day social media grind. You want to be consistent more than anything, and then you want to be engaging and creating good content also. So hopefully that helps. Again, guys, I think we're getting to the end of this live stream, but let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. This is kind of time for you, to small businesses, to ask your questions, see if I can help. If you don't know, I used to work at TikTok and I work at Facebook, and hopefully trying to take some of this information and pass it on to you guys, the small businesses who are trying to grow on social media. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if there's a video topic that you'd like me to talk about. Maybe you have an Instagram account and you want to grow it to 1,000 people. Maybe you have a TikTok account and you're just trying to understand how the heck TikTok works, which is a question I get a lot. Let me know in the comments below, and just tag me on Facebook or on any social media platform. I have all my social media accounts down below. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is at Jarvis Media Social. So just let me know, and I love to create videos that help answer your questions. And I think that kind of wraps it up. So thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know if there's a topic you'd like me to talk about, and until next time.